The North Lamar Board of Trustees to order, showing all board members present. We'll move to item number 1, or item number 2, invocation and pledge of allegiance. We're going to do the invocation first. Mr. Red Holmes.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we come to you, Lord, just thanking you for this day, Lord. Lord, we just ask you to be with this school district. We just thank you for this school district, Lord. Lord, we thank you for this board. We thank you for our administrators. We thank you for our teachers. But mostly we thank you for our students, Lord, that believe in us to attend North Lamar ISD. Heavenly Father, we just ask you to be with our school resource officers, all first responders, and then the parish fire department. They've lost a brother this week, Lord. Just be with him, his family, and the parish fire department. We ask you to be with the families in Dallas, the students as they've been misplaced in their schools, and the families been misplaced from their homes. Lord, just bless them and give them the reassurance everything will be okay. Just watch over each and every one of us as we go our separate ways. These things we ask in Christ Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Do you think it will take a motion to recess for a couple minutes?
Yeah, we can recess.
You want to take a motion to do it then?
Yeah, no, just you can call a recess anytime, Jeff.
Okay.
Let's hear it all.
Sorry. These are the Bailey students, 4th grade. We have Keely's here, Logan's here, Avery, Aiden, and Michael. And so they're going to lead us in the pledge. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
We'll move to item number 3, public hearing, North Lamar ISD State Comp Ed funding. Dr. Chadwick.
So, for what state comp ed funding is for, it's for our at-risk population to make sure that we're taking care of any students who may be off the path of graduating in 12 years with their graduation cohort. So, just in brief, you have your total compensatory educational allotment of a little over $1.5 million there, and that we are required to spend 52% on direct instructional purposes for at-risk students. That amount is listed as $803,833. If you look to the far right, you can see the total spent on salaries is $702,386. You can see the breakdown by campus beside that to the left. For tutorials, we spent a total of $771. And then you see it broken down by campus. For contracted services, which was training for DAP staff, $750. Travel at $1,179 for at-risk conference, and then supplies for 2 different campuses at $6,158. Summer school total $64,843. And Odyssey Wear, which is the resource where we deliver the curriculum for DAP and other online services, $29,200 for a total of $805,288.87. So we did meet our required spend of 52% by 52.09%. Any questions?
Where was the rest of 48%?
That is spent through general funds, and that is not required for this report. State compensatory funding direct spend requirement is the 52% as far as.
Are we able to find out what 48% is?
That goes through general budget, so that would have to be someone else that answers that question.
It's a public hearing, so she's fine.
Yeah.
At this point, I don't know the answer to that. It's general budget. So purpose of this public hearing on the required spend of state comp. Are there any other questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you. We'll move to item 4, public hearing, North Lamar ISD State Financial Accountability Rating.
Yes, I'm here this evening to present the financial integrity rating for North Lamar ISD. It is the 2018-19 rating based on school year data to 2017-18. And in your board package, I included a really good worksheet, I thought, that kind of explained in layman's terms what each of the indicators were trying to measure. And I hope that I was hoping that would really answer a lot of your questions tonight, so that I can just be kind of brief and just kind of summarize. But to summarize, there are 15 indicators on the report, and basically on bullets 1, 2, 13, and 14, and I don't know why they separated them, but basically that was dealing with our 2017-18 annual financial report, or our audit. They were wanting to know, did we submit all the information on time to CEA? They were wanting to know, did we have an unqualified opinion, which is what we need to get as far as auditor vocabulary. And then they also wanted to know, was it free of any material weaknesses? Was there compliance issues? Were there internal controls issues? And so, luckily, I will say that before all 4 of those bullets, we did receive the 10 rating. Bullets 3 and 4 are basically dealing with compliance and the timeliness of debt obligations, and also our TRN and our payroll expenses. And so they were wanting to know, had we paid all those on time? And so for the 17-18 school year, we had paid all that timely, so they were good ratings. Bullets 5 through 9 are basically dealing with our financial solvency, our cash flow. And so what they're looking at there is they're measuring a lot of our various assets and liabilities that are on the balance sheet, and they're just wanting to know, do we have the cash flow to deal with the day-to-day operations? So again, I have to say that for the 17-18 data, all 5 of them were good indicators. Now, bullet 10 is where we get into, and this I've looked back for several years now. This has kept this district up for several years. So basically, I look back, and in 15-16 and 16-17, we started getting the 90. Okay, and the bad thing about that one is it's either you get 10 points or you get 0 points. So what I was seeing is back in 15 and 16 and 16, 17, we were paying our last debt payments, the voter bond, the voter approved debt. And our fund balance in Fund 599, which is where we keep that, had gotten a little low. And we should have really raised it up, but that did not happen. And so we were getting, the ding of 10 points. Basically, in May of 17, we paid that debt off. And really in June 17, June 30, 17, that Fund 599 should have closed, and anything left in it should have went into the general operating fund. That did not happen. For the 18-19 school year, when I came, I closed that account because we will be continuously dinged as long as they think we have voter-approved debt in a Fund 599 that we don't. So hopefully going forward, we will clean that up, and from here on out, we will get the 10 points in this area. Any questions on that one? Did that make sense?
Is that the one that we got 0 from?
Yes.
So then when you select that, it says there's a difference of, did I misread it? Is it about $3 million? Is it about $3 million difference?
No, that has, you're misreading that
But the
totally.
expenditures are exceeding the
Okay,
revenue.
no, you were misreading that way.
But you didn't get,
No.
you only got 0.
It was either 10 or 0. I mean, there's no in between on this one. So, but basically, then on budget, the bullet 11, that was dealing with our administrative costs. Now, in the past, we had been able to not have any issues in this problem, but in 17-18, that is when we paid off the superintendent contract. And so that skewed that ratio. I've looked, it should go away, that should just be a one-time thing, and that should fix itself again here on the next report. Bullet 12 is dealing with our student-staff ratios. Now, of course, we are seeing a decline in our enrollment, but not 15%. So, and I see that happening. So as far as I know, bullet 11 should, or bullet 12, should always be, you know, a 10. And then also, then the last one, bullet 15, is just dealing with a repayment schedule. Did we have to go, because we have been overpaid, but have we had to go to them and request some kind of adjusted payment? And we have not had to do that, and I don't foresee that either. So basically, our rating then, you know, for the 18-19 school year was an 88, which is a B, which is above average, with a point score of 88. But then, and I also have included those 6 disclosures that I have to disclose every year that were in there as well. So if y'all don't have any questions on that, that will conclude the public hearing on our budget report.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll move on to item number 5, public forum. This is the time for public comments. Did anyone sign up? Okay, no one signed up for public comment. Item number 6A, okay, consent agenda. We're going to need a motion to approve everything in the consent agenda unless someone wants to pull an item.
Make a motion to approve it, sir.
I'll second.
Motion made by Red, seconded by Sheila. All in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0. Okay, moving on to item number 7. Action and discussion items. Discussion only, attendance and enrollment.
I'll let this go here on the table. Just compare the enrollment from our last board meeting to this board meeting. And so if you look at the middle column, that's the enrollment as of this Wednesday, or this last Wednesday when we pulled the data. Higgins was at 316, which is up a student. Everett was at 252, which was up 5 students. Parker was at 227, which was the same as last month, and so was Bailey at 304. Stone is at 559.5, and that was up 5 students. And then the high school was 744, which is down 5 students. But overall, the district had a plus 6 more students than we had at this time last month. The total ADA through October 16th was 2318.34, which was 97.15% attendance for the year up to that date. And I just want to remind you that Melissa budgeted for 2245, so we're still up 73.34. So, you know, that helps us with our budget whenever we can stay at that rate. The attendance was down just a little bit. Last time it was at 98%. I know the high school in Higgins was down just a little bit, down to about 96, and I've talked to the principals, and we're going to try to work on, you know, keeping that attendance up, because that's very important on the ADA as far as our budget. Anybody have any questions on that?
Where do we like to keep our attendance? I mean, this 97.15 sounds so
That's
good.
pretty good, but I'm just saying we're shooting. I would personally like to see it at 98 or
98.
above,
Mhm.
because the higher we can keep it, the more money we're going to get, and so that's going to help us in the long run of things. Okay.
Anything else? Okay. We'll move on to 7B, discussion only, transportation report.
Okay. Some of you have asked some questions on transportation, so I just thought I'd give you an update. I want to tell you that Mr. Hildreth has started the repair logs, and so we're keeping a log of every repair we do on every vehicle that we have. And the reason we want to do that, as we get into the spring and we start looking at maybe replacing some of the vehicles, that will give us a true picture where we can look at those logs, and if we see that a certain bus is having to have a lot of repairs, that tells us that it's probably time to replace that bus. It just depends on what it was. But so it's going to be a more accurate way for us to make decisions in the future of what we need as far as transportation goes. Because I mean, I know some of you know our fleet, Our regular buses, we have 22 regular routes. And right now, 15 of them are 10 years or over, the buses. And so, and with the oldest one being 2003 model, okay? And so when every day I go over there, there's at least one bus in there. I've seen as many as 3 buses being repaired. When we look at the ones, if we're having to repair a bus, our 5 sub-buses are all 2000 models. And so when we're sending those out, we got nearly 20-year-old vehicles. So when we start looking at that, that's going to give us a bigger or better picture to make those decisions of which buses we need to replace. Our sped buses, I did want to share this with you. I mean, we got 8 buses that are sped, which is co-op, and 4 of those are 10 years or older, and then there's 3 more that are 2010 models, which is 9-year-old, and the newest bus they have is 2011. Tomorrow we're meeting with the board, and we're proposing 3 new buses and 2 vans. And the reason we're doing this is because they have the money in fund balance in the co-op in order to buy those things. And Bo, that's going to cure some of the problems that we had a couple of weeks ago when we had some sped buses break down and we had to use North Lamar vans to take kids home because they had to get home that day, and that put us short on a van that we needed for our North Lamar vehicle. So we're going to propose that, and I know it's going to get passed because we have talked to those other guys, and so we're going to get those vehicles so that we don't get in that bind again. Anybody have any questions? Thank you.
We'll move to item 7C, discussion only, maintenance report. Rick?
I'm going to give you a report on Ideal Impact, which is our building automation system. That's, we have our benchmark of how much we're saving every month. September was $7,350. It's above our benchmark. Of course, we're going in the fall, so we're going to beat our benchmark every month because we're not using as much electricity with heating as we do with AC units. I think it's working well. That benchmark, for us beating that benchmark every month is very important in the end. A little bit about maintenance softball field. We're redoing the infield. We're going to do some repair work on the fence and repaint the inside. We done the outside last summer, or this past summer. It looks good. We're getting new signs. We're going to paint the concession stand and bathrooms on the outside, the dugouts. We're going to do some power washing and some painting on the inside of the dugouts. And we got a prepared gate. Down at the baseball field, we've had a lot of rotten fence we've had to take down. If you drive by, you'll see some blue treated plywood up. We had to do that. We're going to paint the inside and outside of that fence, and we're going to have new signs put up there. And we're also going to redo the inside of the infield. This rain, every time it rains, that sits in a hole, and it's 2 or 3 weeks before we can actually do something. But we're going to get the fence done. But the weather's kind of held us up on the infield on the softball field. But we'll have it ready before the season starts.
Any questions?
Yes, sir.
On that baseball field, you're saying it's flooding, and there's no French drains or nothing in there?
Yeah, but the outfield, Bo, it just holds water. I mean, it hadn't been sanded in years, and we're going to do some work to the outfield, but it's not going to be perfect.
What about the water lines on the football field?
We've got one. I think we got a leak we just found out about from Friday night, an irrigation leak.
Well, we haven't been watering the field, the way it looks anyhow, have we?
Well, we stopped the water so we could put the seed out. Because the seed, we're kind of behind on seed because the weather hadn't been right. So we finally got seed out and started putting water to it, and we've got some leaks now. Back when we figured out what was going on, when the sprinkler system was put in new last year, if you'll remember right, when we went back to irrigate it, the aerator hit the lines. The lines are not deep enough, okay? The guy that put it in originally is going to come back in the football season and fix that and repair it. at his cost. It won't be any cost to the district. That's Mr. Shyrock. He put it in for Randy Stevens when Randy redone the field, or partially redone the field last year. So that's gonna be repaired, but we did find out we had one leak at the southeast corner Friday night. We'll get it repaired tomorrow. We've had several leaks through the district. Of course, you know, Exxon's been out quite a bit, the ground's moving. We've had some rain. We had 2 major leaks at Higgins on the main. Exxon was there this morning. They were there Friday. We've had 1 or 2 at Stone. It's just an ongoing deal with, you know, we've had dry weather, now it's raining, the ground's gonna move. So, but, we've got that under control, I think, as of this morning. So, but as far as the football field, the grass ought to come on strong. You know, we've got it back on now. If you look at the baseball and softball fields, you'll see the seed coming up. We had a little mix up on, they don't sell the seed in Winfield anymore. We had to get it from another store towards Dallas. We didn't realize that. They're not carrying it in town anymore, so we had to order it. We waited 2 weeks to get it. So, anyway, we're gonna try another route next year, and, so we don't have to do that again.
Anything else? Okay, thank you. 7D, discussion only, ESL program evaluation.
Handout. This is a handout that was not included in the original paperwork that was in First of all, I'd like to thank you for allowing me to come up and talk to you about the ESL program. Great program that North Lamar has. The information that I will be presenting is from the 2018-2019 school year. There were approximately 96 students served last year. There were 96 students that were labeled NPs as limited English proficiency, but the ESL program served 76 of those students. There were no student parent denials that I saw. 20 of those students of the 96 were monitored either as first year or second year in the program. If you look at your handout, I put down by the number of LP students by grade level and also by campus if you wanted to see what that was. The academic progress for 2018-19, that was the form that I just sent out. That is basing all of our monitoring analysis system from STAR as of 2018-19. If you look, I have broken it up by campus that says how many students were tested, and it stated whether this student, according to STAR, either approached, met, or mastered or did not meet. So if you look for Parker and Everett, I listed how many students were tested, and how many mastered in math or approached or met or did not meet. So there was a breakdown for each of the campuses. If you look at the EOC passing rate at the high school, there again I listed how many English learners were tested. If you pay attention to the sophomores, theirs was a little bit different because students were tested according to, if they needed to have English 1 assessed or English 2 assessed or algebra or history at that during that year. And then there was one junior that was tested in U.S. history that approached. So I broke that all down for y'all so that you can see that. Any questions on the STAR assessment?
Ms. LaFoy, you said there are 96 students qualified?
That were labeled as in PEEMS as English learners.
And then you said there was like 70 or 76 that were
Monitored.
served.
That they were.
I know you wasn't in charge of that. Do you know why the rest of them wasn't?
Well, there was
monitored?
20 of them that were monitored because according to to the state, once they get to their first year and second year, there were 20 students. So 76 students got served in the ESL program. 20 of them were just monitored because they were either a first-year student, a first-year monitor, or a second-year monitor, where they are not in the ESL program. We are just monitoring them to making sure they're progressing. If not, then they re-enter into the program.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Next is English proficiency attainment for the 2018-19, which is called TELPAS, which stands for Texas English Language Proficiency Assessment System. Students are assessed in 4 domains, which is speaking, listening, reading, and writing. And through that, it provides an overall composite score. So you can see, as in kinder, I did from kinder to 12, and I broke it down how many students were rated and then what they rated at. So, for example, kindergarten, there were 14 students that took the TELPAS. 4 of them were rated at the beginning level, 6 were at the intermediate, 2 were advanced, and 2 were at advanced high. So I broke it down from kindergarten to 12th grade, and then from K2 to 312. The TELPAS is a holistic assessment, and it monitors how our English learners are making progress in learning English in their reading, speaking, writing, and listening. If you look below, in order to exit from the ESL program, students must be orally proficient, and I stated here that is according to 3 things. They need to score approach or above on their STAR reading, or end of course for English 1, English 2, and or writing. Or they can look at their TELPAS, and they need to score advanced high in listening and speaking, those 2 domains. Or if writing is not assessed, then on TELPAS they have to get an advanced high. So writing is assessed in, I believe, grades 4 and 7. So if they do not score approaches on that, then according to TELPAS they have to be at an advanced high in order to exit the ESL program. Last year, according to what I was able to look, the number of students that were reclassified that exited the ESL program and went into a 1st year and 2nd year monitoring, there was only 1 3rd grader, 1 4th grader, and 1 6th grader. The rest of them will still remain in the ESL program. Any questions on that? The next page talks about the ESL staff. These are teachers that are within North Lamar that are certified as ESL teachers. We have no bilingual teachers in the district. Currently we have 18 ESL, English Language Arts teachers. And we have 30 ESL teachers overall that are teaching other content. If you look at the handout, these teachers that are in bold are our ELAR teachers that are receiving the ESL stipend this year. So those teachers are in bold. The other teachers that are not in bold are our ESL teachers, either in English Language Arts or in other content areas and what grade levels they are in. Last year, I believe that Everett and Bailey in the high school were under an ESL waiver. I did not list the teachers' names, but if you want them, there was one teacher that got certified last year in ESL that is at Everett that is teaching English Language Arts, and there was one at Bailey that got certified that is currently an English Language Arts teacher as well. If you want those names, I can provide you those names. And at the high school, there were no teachers that sought ESL certification, or that either took the test and were unsuccessful. According to the waiver last year, the staff would participate when they were getting their ESL certification in staff development. They were trained for LPACS, which is the Language Proficiency Assessment Committee training. Some of them may have also attended the ESL Texas 154 test training at Region 8, or they were trained as a TELPAS rater by either Region 8 or by Ms. Milton last year. This year, North Lamar will need to submit an application for an ESL waiver again this year, and it needs to be submitted before November 1st, 2019. If you look, I put the application requirements that TEA mandates for the ESL waiver. So we're looking at the second dot all the way down to the end. I also provided links so that you could go in and see the application and instructions on what TEA mandates for us to file the waiver. So again, that needs to be done before November the 1st. If I can file for that waiver, and the application needs to be assured by the superintendent, and she needs to review it and approve it for the upcoming year. The school, the only campus that I have that will be under the waiver is going to be the high school. Currently, we have ESL students at the 10th, 11th, and 12th grade, but there is not an ESL certified teacher at those grade levels. So that is the reason for the waiver. Until that time, I have spoken with the principals and Dr. Chadwick, and teachers will be notified of which ones need to become ESL certified. And I put on here they're going to have the opportunity to attend staff development. And I am requiring that they obtain their certification by August the 1st of 2020 before school starts next year. So hopefully we will have 3 teachers certified in those 3 grade levels so that we can prevent filing a waiver again for the 2020-2021 school year. I propose that during that time in the waiver for our alternative instruction program that is mandated by TEA, that to meet affected linguistic and cognitive needs of our ELs, that our teachers will either go to ESL training provided by Region 8. There is another training at Region 8 that's called Making Connections with the ELFs. And there is sheltered instruction training, which is through Gateway, where they can work on it through their own time, and also TELPAS training that they will be currently receiving for rating for TELPAS this year. And the last handout shows that as of so far, we are currently serving 109 English language learners. I broke it down by campus, how many there are, and how many are first year, second year, all the way up to 5th year. And so we're growing. And this year I currently assess 19 students using the pre-loss and loss links that TEA mandated on testing students for placement to see if they qualify for ESL. Also, I did not include it, but if you want, I also have a schedule where I am going in and doing push-ins and working with teachers, and also working with students on who need that extra help through RTI for English language development, and working with them on their English linguistics. So, if you would like a copy of that, I have one, but that is it as of right now.
So at the high school, when we have students that need help, are you going in and, are you teaching students, or?
I'm only going in and assisting teachers who are not yet currently ESL certified at the elementary levels, because I can go in and do a push-in that doesn't require us to file a waiver. So I'm in there co-teaching with those teachers. The other students, I am doing a pull-out where I am working with them on English, such as phonics, phonemic awareness, where they are learning to blend and basically start at the learning their letters and the sounds of the letters and forming words so that they can transition into writing in English. There are a few, there's quite a few that are still where their home language is what they still are requiring when it comes to assessments and work. So I'm getting them, pulling them, and working with them starting at the very beginning. So they're through a pull-out, where I'm pulling through RTI so they're not missing content and instruction. And so, and I'm using Wells and Jill as part of their curriculum.
When, like looking at the numbers at the high school, and do we have more students coming to us not being able to speak English? There's 24 at the high school.
We do have some that...
at that age, they're older and they're coming here and they don't know how to speak English.
They do not. Mm-hmm. And so what I'm currently doing at the high school level is I am make sure that those students that are struggling are making sure that it's not because it's a linguistic issue, but maybe it's because they're not turning in or submitting their work, which is what we're finding a lot of, that they're not turning in their work, they're not communicating with their teachers. A lot of it is because they are a little bit hesitant in speaking the English language, or they do not know how to ask. So I'm working with those students and doing a lot of translating between them and the teachers to see what the issue is and why they're not being successful.
So you are working with some of the high school kids?
Only monitoring them because of my ESL certification only goes up through the 8th grade. I am not highly qualified to work with those students, so I'm just using them as monitoring. Because if I was, then a waiver would not have been needed for this
Right.
year. So I'm just monitoring their progress for the year and working with teachers to see how we can help them in their content and with their grades. Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we'll move on to 7E, consideration and approval, the appraisal calendar for 19 and 20.
Okay, so you should have your 1920 district appraisal calendar in front of you. Just touching a few highlights. The appraisal year started August 16th. It ends May 22nd. The formal observations must be completed by Friday, March 27th, and then a tentative annual appraisal must be shared with teachers no later than May 1st, 2020. A lot of different things in the middle, but if you have any questions, I'll be happy to explain any of that further.
If there are no questions, we need a motion to approve the appraisal calendar. Motion made by Red, seconded by Joel. Is there any discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0. Moving on to item 7F, consideration and approval of appraisers for the 2019-20 school year. Dr. Chadwick.
Okay, so you should have in front of you a list for being certified for this year, this school year. I'd like to present that to you for approval for those who need to be appraised.
I move we approve these certified appraisers.
Motion made by Sheila, seconded by Bo. Is there any discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0. Thank you. Item 7G, consideration and approval campus improvement plans. We'll start with Higgins.
Good evening. Just to go over some highlights from the campus improvement plan. Goal number 1 was talking about a quality education, and we want to address that through implementing our balanced literacy, or balanced Cornell resource that we've adopted. We believe that's going to really focus in on our reading and writing scores. We do have our care teams that meet regularly, if not every 6 weeks, every 9 weeks, to discuss instructional strategies that we can have for our students to enable them to be successful. Goal number 2, providing teachers with the curriculum technology. We have our weekly meetings with the principal, academic coaches, and the teachers to go over anything that they might need for the teachers. And then we also have our professional development that we can attend to help us with the TEACS resource system, and we have found that's proven to be very beneficial so far this year. Goal 3 is to provide our learning environment positive, safe, and supportive. We have a new counselor in our building this year, and she has taken the guidance lessons actually into the classroom for small groups instead of large groups in like PE class. We found that to be very beneficial. The students are learning about bullying, how to handle social situations, those kind of things. We do have our camera system installed. We have our Raptor system up and going, so those are all 2 very good things to make our building much safer. One of the areas we do need to address is our playground and the safety on it. Under goal number 4, college and career readiness, which is always kind of interesting at kindergarten and first grade level. But we address that through a lot of field trips. We go to Pizza Hut, we go to Domino's, Petco, we bring the fire station in, the police in, all kinds of things. We always have kids going or people coming into our building. So, any questions?
Can I just make some I did read through this, and I understand the importance. I think you are the most important campus with the early childhood and the beginning of the children, because this is where they start. And I was noticing we are seeming to get more economically disadvantaged students, and therefore probably have more of a need for the person that is referred to as an interventionalist.
Yes, ma'am.
And have we in the past, did we have more interventionalists than we do now?
Prior to me, I believe we did. I can't really speak for that, but I know from what I have heard.
Yes. We did have one leave that did not get replaced. Is that correct?
This last year, yes, ma'am.
All right, and so it says that they don't see an interventionalist teacher often enough because we don't have them on staff. I mean, we don't have the staff to do this, and that we've lost the staff, I guess due to our budget crunch. Would that be correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And anyway, if you had $100,000 to spend, where would you put it?
Oh, wow. That's a great question. Of course, my building's busting at the seams. So if I could magically have some extra classrooms, that'd be great. But interventionists, no doubt, at this level, kids working in small groups is priceless. And something that we definitely need, not just in reading, but also in math.
Yeah. So that probably is one of the most serious, helps that you need.
Yes, ma'am. We need it drastically.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Everett, Mrs. Sanders.
Okay, so for goal one, on goal one, I chose a strategy that's going to work with our student population. That is our targeted improvement group according to the Closing Gaps report. So what we're doing this year is we have implemented a new program where the teachers for 45 minutes, either 2 times or 3 times a week, are pulling the students into small groups. They're working with the Tier 1 population, because we work with the Tier 2 and 3 through like literacy and math lab. But this year we're pulling Tier 1, which is on our report, the group that we need to work on, doing small group interventions with them. We've also done some things for all our students, which will include our Tier 1, 2, and 3 students. We're doing a CUPS writing strategy this year, starting in the 2nd grade. It's an acronym that the teachers are teaching the kids to write with. We have a school-wide math incentive fact program. So 2nd grade is doing their addition and subtraction facts. 3rd grade is doing multiplication and division, kind of a memorization where they get rewards each 6 weeks if they learn these particular facts that they're supposed to learn. And we're doing the same thing with sight words. And then iStation, we've done that in the years past, but this year we're doing more of an incentive program with them as well. So trying to catch all tiers of our kids and close that gap where we need to academically for them. Also our teachers, for Goal 2 and 1, we have the Fountas and Pinnell curriculum as well. So our teachers were trained this summer on it. They're continually being trained this year, but they're working with Shelley Gibbons on that. We're looking at data. We are looking at our performance assessments, our common unit assessments, grades, all those things to plan what they're going to do in that small group instruction on Tier 1. So we're just kind of digging in there this year, really looking at data, looking at our students, trying to bring not just our 2 and 3 tier students up, but our tier 1 students up. For our goal 3, which is safety, we were able to close in the windows at Everett. So if you guys haven't been by, we took the door out, put the 2 safety windows in, closed the building up, locked that office off. So that's one thing we were able to do. We still don't have cameras, so that's what we're trying to do this year, is raise money so that we can do cameras. And then we're also working on our playground. We've been working with Rick, trying to get some of that unsafe stuff, like a whole bunch of stuff up this summer. We're getting ready to go in and put border around the playground things and put some new equipment in there. Under goal 4, the college and career, all the stuff that we're doing with goal 1 and 2 with our tier 1 students, tier 2 and 3, all that we're hoping is helping to prepare them for college by building their academics. Also, our counselor Tracy, she does quite a bit. She does guidance each month with the students, and so she's doing career lessons. We have Career Day, Heritage Day, some things like that too. But we're in hopes that academically, when we can work on that small group and bring those students where they need to be, then that helps prepare them for their college days.
Is tier 1 the lowest?
It's the highest.
It's the highest,
Yes.
and then the
Yes.
2 and 3.
And that's where we're on our Closing the Gaps report. That's where we were struggling. That's your kids that you want to get to your meets and masters. It's the ones that just scored approaches that we need to push up.
Okay, I was too noticing that your campus is also getting more economically disadvantaged children, and that the STAR scores are lower. For the meets and masters. And if you had extra money to spend, what do you think would help your campus, your kids the most?
Well, for sure the small group, like Lori said, if we had extra people to go into the classrooms. This year we're using the Fountains of Manila. It's guided reading, shared reading, where the teachers are doing a small group together while the students are doing centers and things. So if you had extra people in there, that would help tremendously to work with those other groups while she's trying to work with her group. And then, obviously cameras and safety of our students are a big thing, and our playground. Everyone's playground needs a lot of work.
But you two feel like more staff members would help your kids gain?
More people that
Yeah.
can help.
What else was I going to ask? It says here that you have an active PTO and volunteer program. I mean, that's one of your things. And then there's a lack of parent support and parent awareness when it comes to academic needs.
Well, our PTO, we have a few parents that are very active and are really working hard. But then it's hard to get past that active staff that you have parents to get the rest of them. We had an ice cream social last week or week before, and we had that same group that came, but we can't get out there and get the others to. And so when we did math day this week, we did education, tried to teach the parents a little bit about iStation, some things that we do, trying to get the parents more involved in their students' academics.
So you have a hard time getting parents that need to be there, learning more about what's going on. They just don't come. So the parent involvement is...
But the PTO, the ones that do come in,
Yeah.
it's really hard to try to help the
yeah.
issues. A lot of people work. It's just,
Yeah. Yep.
It's throughout the whole campus.
Just district-wide.
Yeah.
I know.
Groups that will do everything. And you can't get nobody.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, Parker.
So for our first goal, our goal 1, we're going to work with, we've been working with the academic coaches on a regular basis, disaggregating data and coming up with strategies to help students that may need it. So that's one of our strategies for our first goal. our second goal, which is about the curriculum and technology. We've really been pushing STEM, and so we want to purchase some more STEM things. Last year I purchased a couple of STEM parts, and so students were able to build things and code them and robots and things is really neat. So we're looking at purchasing some more of that. That's for our second goal. For our third goal, about safety and positive learning environment, our guidance counselor does guidance with every class once in 6 weeks, and she does it per each class. She goes in, and the teachers are able to sit and listen to those guidance lessons so they can also implement those strategies she's teaching those kids as well. And then our last goal, college and career readiness. One of the strategies we're doing is we always do the career fair, and we're going to continue to do that, but we're going to look at getting local business people to come into the classrooms, different classrooms once in 6 weeks, and just kind of how does what you're learning in the classroom relate to the real world, kind of help them make a connection. That's one of our goals this year.
Do you feel like you have a good, strong parent support at Parker within your community, or do you find the same kind of like Laura was talking about with her group?
It depends.
Yeah.
When we're doing something like the family nights, we usually have a really great showing. But when it comes to parents understanding what their kids are doing in school and to help their kids in school, there can be a disconnect there.
And I was noticing that you said you have a real high percentage of nurse referrals.
Yes.
As far as the district goes, you seem to have more.
We have attributed that to my demographic out that way. So a lot of them will bring their kids to school while they're running fever or sick, and a lot of times it's because they want the school nurse to maybe help them out a little bit. What do I need to do? They're looking for information. It's not that they're just sending them to school to send them to school. They're sending them, hey, you woke up sick. Do you think I need to take them to the doctor? It's more of a getting an opinion.
Like a triage.
Yes.
So the load and the expectations, especially in the elementary school, are huge, aren't they? I mean, you're faced with a lot more than just educating these kids.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, we appreciate you, all of you.
Anything else? Thank you. Bailey?
We have several objectives and lots of strategies, but the one that I thought was most important to bring to your attention is meeting with academic coaches, myself, and the teachers every single week. We have a common planning time. I also attended a Region 8 Leverage Leadership Conference last week, where we take our data and we drill down a little deeper. I've always been a data person, but this year I think we're going to extend that by making action plans, meeting with our academic coaches that are helping us with the Teach Resource System. So that's our first one. Goal 2, providing our teachers with curriculum and instructional programs. We are working with Region 8 consultants. We're attending more Region 8 meetings. The people that are going, like Heather Reeves last week, Kim Lake and them are going, they're presenting to our staff. So we feel like we need them in the classroom, but we need them to get the extra information from Region 8. So they're coming back to present. In fact, we have a consultant there today that is helping us with our Teach Resource System, with our Craig Language Arts. Goal 3, providing a learning environment that's positive, safe, and supportive. We do have our cameras on the playground, hallways, our front and back porch this year we added the response to intervention behavior plan. So that is just a system that we have posters posted in the classroom, the hallways, the bathrooms, cafeteria, playground on behavior that's acceptable and what we expect at Bailey. And we have a good discipline referral system there. Goal 4, our plan for our college and career readiness. My counselor, Keitha Khalifa, does an awesome job of taking virtual tours of colleges and lining them up with what students want to do for their career and then trying to match the university with that. So this year we're going to invite parents that have gone to these universities that come up with the career searches and have them present to our students.
Sorry. I thought I turned it off.
Thank you.
I was just looking here at your writing needs and your science needs. You feel like they're not being stressed enough. What do you think is the cause of that?
Well, it's just teaching them to read and to do math is stressing lower grades, which it should be. And a lot of times science is just probably not at the forefront. I think writing will be with the new adoption with Marcus and Cannell, because you can't separate reading and writing anymore. It goes hand in hand, so I feel like that's completely taken care of. Science is just, not a lot of teachers have a solid background in science, and it's probably just not as taught.
Now you're talking on the 2nd grade level, 3rd grade level?
Yeah. I think it's better now. When Chandra came, he kind of got everybody on a scope and a sequence, and Dr. Chadwick is doing that, so it's better. Our scores came up last year, so it's better.
Thank you. Motion to approve all those, right? Okay, we're going to need a motion to approve the campus improvement plans.
I think they're great. I'll second that.
Motion made by Joel, seconded by Bo. He got you first.
All right.
Any discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0. Moving on to item 7H, consideration and approval, amend board operating procedures to comply with House Bill 2840, public testimony. Mrs. Stewart?
If you would, please turn to page 208 in your board book, and you will see the amendment is taking place here on this page regarding public testimony. House Bill 2840 addresses public testimony along with public forum. And if you'll notice, we added bullets 1, 2, and 3. The board shall provide an opportunity for the public to address the board regarding an item on the agenda. A member of the public who desires to address the board on any agenda item must deliver the following information to the superintendent of schools. If you will flip to the back of your board operating procedures, you will see a page that we developed. It's a public testimony sign-in sheet. That public testimony sign-in sheet will be housed here at the administration building. For anyone that wants to sign up for public testimony, they will need to fill that sheet out no later than 24 hours before the board meeting and have that turned in here at the administration building. If the meeting is on a Monday night, they will have until 9 a.m. On that Monday to turn that sheet in. Each testimony that is presented to the board will be limited to 2 minutes unless the person that is here to speak needs to have a translator. And if they have a translator, they will have up to 4 minutes to present. So we need to change that and amend our board operating procedures. Public forum at this time will remain the same until we receive more information from TASB on House Bill 2840.
Well, I think 2 minutes is not very much time. Is that a customary number, or is that
That's
just
what's being recommended.
recommended by?
Our lawyers.
The reason why is under the new law, when in the past only one person could speak about an item, they had to assign a person. Now 100 people can come speak about the same item. You have to allow them the time to speak. So if you didn't eliminate drastically limit it. You basically could have a meeting filibustered by public forum, and certainly that's a problem in larger school districts than us. It's probably, more, but even here you could have 300 people from the community come. You've got to give them all, so if it's 5 minutes times 300, we could have a 2-day board meeting. So that's the reason why they're recommending a lower time.
2 minutes.
So we're going to need a motion to approve, made by who was that? Bo? Seconded by Joel. All in favor, is there any discussion, any further discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0. 7I, consideration of approval superintendent evaluation tool.
Okay, on page 214 in your board book is the superintendent evaluation tool. This is the exact same evaluation tool that was used last year when evaluating Dr. Adams, and each year the evaluation tool has to come before the board. So we'll need, if everyone is in agreement that this tool was a good tool for the purpose of evaluation, we'll need that approved.
So motion made by Bo to use the same tool. Is there a second? Seconded by Alicia. Is there any further discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0. Okay, item 7J, I'm going to move that to later in the meeting and move on to item 8, superintendent's report.
Okay, on November 4th, and this is going to be a time change from your agenda, Region 8 will be offering a Tier 1 legislative update for school board members, and this will take place on Monday, November 4th from 6 to 9 p.m. So if any of you are wanting to attend this training, if you would, just please email me so that I can make our reservation with Region 8 for us to be there that night, and they will provide dinner. I'm also attending the new Superintendent Academy, which will require me to be out a half a day each month for the training at Region 8. Does anyone have any questions?
Okay, at this time we'll move to item 9, executive session. The board will conduct a closed meeting in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code Chapter 551, subchapters D and E.
Did we go to that thing last year?
I think so.